hello again. Call My Bluff with the old fifth ace, Frank Muir.
That's a new one. Good evening. My first is an actress who's deserted the box for the moment and is in the theatre, but we've wrenched her away from Nottingham, where she's a shrew being tamed nightly, and it's Kate O'Mara. My second isn't an actress. He's a novelist and journalist and writes a column for the Sunday Times, and it's Godfrey Smith.
And on the left we have the sage of Myrtle Bank, Arthur Marshall.
I'm sure you've all seen or heard of a marvellous new comedy team called Wood and Walters. Well, here is, so to speak, the front half of it, Victoria Wood. And who better to accompany her than our good friend, Tim Brooke-Taylor.
So, the introductions, the courtesies being over. We ring our little bell, get the first word, jellic, and if I remember well, Frank and his team will define jellic 3 different ways. 2 of the definitions are bogus ones. They're the bluffs. One's okay. That's the one, of course, that Arthur and co try and pick out. So, what do you have to say about jellic, Frank?
Well, over the past few weeks, like a good BBC feature programme, we have taken you through the life of a young printer. We've been on a ways goose with him, have we not,
I seem
Robert?
to recall that, yes.
Yes,
hand in
on
hand.
his annual outing, that is. And we've seen how he plays that game with 9 little separating things. And now, today we come to the end of his apprenticeship, which is the cause of a rowdy celebration with much horseplay. And the end of a printer's apprenticeship, that little rowdy occasion, is called a jellic.
Is that it?
Well, I can't go on a bit.
I thought it was all right. I especially like the old-fashioned phrase horseplay. There's not a lot of that about these days. Anyway, what does Godfrey Smith tell us now?
Well, were you to disrobe a Turkish lady, you would find that under her kaftan and other outer garments, there would be a jellic. And this is a Turkish lady's vest or bodice, a sartorial item very rarely seen by Western observers.
I should jolly well hope so. Yes. Divest such a lady at your peril, I imagine. Kate O'Mara.
Well, in this country, a jellic is a very small, sweet biscuit, which children use to sort of, you know, when they have tea sort of time with their dollies and things, and they put lots of little jellics on a plate. Now, in the United States of America, where the children are rather more advanced, they play other sort of games, like pretending to be married, and, of course, they call them jellics. And they make them into the shape of little sort of rings for the wedding.
Sort of sweet little biscuits, that
Yes.
kind of thing, right?
You could say that.
I could, and indeed did. A printer's jolly or party or knees up for an apprentice just out of his time, and a Turkish vest. Yes. Arthur, which will you have?
Well, fascinating though the Turkish lady's vest or bodice was, I can't think
You saw through it, didn't you?
that name, jellic, it couldn't be that in Turkish. And why ever would we have that? No, I don't think, Godfrey, that it's that. I really don't. Kate, your sweet biscuits were beautifully done, and very, very tempting they were.
Angelic.
But I think on the whole, it's old Frank's, dear old Frank's, printer's rowdy breaking up party.
Oh, right then. Frank did say something. It's all true or bluff, Frank? Nothing. I think when you say old Frank, Arthur, I fear the worst. Anyway, I don't, just my superstitious way.
Ish, oldish.
Oldish Frank. Who gave the true definition of jellic? There you have it. It is A Turkish vest, and you can't see through it, as Frank seemed to imply you could. Belmontin is our next one, and Arthur will tell you about that.
Picture a painter squeezing out colours onto his palette, an oil painter. And he squeezes them out, and one of them may well be a Belmontin. And you'll want to know why, because of the colour. And it's a rather beautiful reddish-brown, like terracotta earthenware. And the ideal thing, if you're a painter, contemplating an autumnal landscape. Out with your Belmontin and smear, smear, smear.
Right, now it's Tim Brooke-Taylor to tell us.
Belmontin is a fatty, sticky substance which is refined from Burmese naphtha. Burmese naphtha, a tar-like mineral liquid. If you have a large quantity of this, you should put danger Belmontin, because it is a highly inflammable substance which was used by our great-grandfathers in Victorian times for their lamps to give us a little illumination. That is what Belmontin is, definitely.
Right. So they say. Now it is...
Hang on, I can't spell naphtha. N-A-P-T-H.
P-H, I think you'll find, Frank, yes.
P-T-H.
If it helps at all. I
Doesn't look
suppose.
right, Robin.
Let us go on and invite Victoria.
Belmontin is a place in southern Australia, and it's a very exclusive seaside resort. It's sort of like Morecambe, but without the rain hoods, you know what I mean? And it's so exclusive that Belmontin now means a very snotty or snobbish person. Belmontin is a snotty man, and Belmontine is a snotty woman.
Right. It is this colour you're well advised to use if you're painting an autumnal landscape. It's some sort of fatty thing, more or less like naphtha, and you can set fire to it if you want to. And it's a snooty, stuck-up Australian, I think you said, Victoria. Yes, yes. Well, Frank, to choose.
No problem. In my limited experience of being at the easel, the earth colours have rather earthy names. They don't have rather beautiful names like Belmontin. I mean, the more chemical colours do, but not the earth ones. They have names like burnt sienna. Burnt sienna, na-da-da-dee. We don't think it's the Bernese as I have down here, because it was so complicated, and I think it would have blown up if it had got into a...
Naphtha, yes.
Into a Victorian gentleman's bicycle lamp. So we are driven to Victoria, and so may we see your card, because we
You're
do
choosing
believe...
it, Frank. You're
sort
so
of, yeah.
elliptical.
Without
But there
a
she
lot
shows...
of confidence, but
She
there we
said
are.
it was the
Yeah.
stuck-up Australian... No, it's not the stuck-up Australian. It has to be one of the others. Now, the true deliverer must own up.
Well, not the nap.
Yes, it's a sort of naphtha, sort of fatty guns you set fire to, and it lights up, or did. Now, Hoshen, or Hoshen, I don't know how you pronounce it. What would you say, Godfrey?
I should say Hoshen.
Please,
sorry,
then. No, I'm sorry.
Is that all I'm saying?
I would say
A
Hoshen.
little more would help.
And I would say that it's applied to two different sorts of things. One is when a cow or some animal has had too much to eat and the tummy is rather overfull, and it gets a little gas in the tummy and it swells out like that. It's said to become Hoshen. Similarly, you can say of a cheese when it's got pressed down like that, you know, and rather disgustingly oozing at the sides. That also is the state of Hoshen.
Right. And now, Kate, it's your go.
Well, I'm sure you've always wanted to know what Scotsmen wear under their kilts to keep warm. Well, I can tell you. It's a hosen. And it is a sort of long knitted sort of garment like a sort of cylinder, open-ended, and it's worn on his
This is a family
legs.
program.
No, on his legs.
Thank heavens.
Now, Rabbie Burns actually wrote a poem called Willie's Wife.
Ah.
And in it, he uses this wonderful word when he says, "She dates he grunzy we are hosen."
Where would we be without Rabbie Burns? I continually ask myself. And I've asked myself again. But now I'll ask Frank Muir to carry on.
Art. You know when you go on holiday and you're sitting in your deck chair in the Riviera, Cannes or Nice, the knotted handkerchief, and on the second day, your right shoulder goes a kind of reddy pink there. Now that reddy pink colour, not unlike a flamingo's wing, is also the colour of a rather sort of simple Chinese pottery. This pinky red, delicate colour comes from pottery made in a hilly province, 600 miles west of Nanking. And the name of the province is Haishan. Isn't that a coincidence?
Yes.
Because it's the word.
So,
What a palaver.
they say it's like being bloated if you're a cow, or a cheese can be bloated, I think Godfrey said, yes. It's a Chinese province, and it's an open-ended cylinder that a daft Scotsman wears on his leg. No, it's a sort of open-ended stocking, I think it really was. Tim's choice.
I cannot see these Chinese gentlemen thinking of the Riviera and thinking, he shouldn't have overdone it on the first day, but that's just the colour we've got of our pottery. I cannot think this is a... You couldn't put in that false information. That would be... I cannot go along with that at all. Kate, sailing close to the wind with her hosen, which is worn under the kilt. Hosen.
Hosen.
As in hose. Right. Robbie Burns, we all know the quote of Robbie Burns. I didn't know it meant that. Godfrey. Godfrey's were all absolutely disgusting. I'd rather not think about them. This cheese that oozes out all over the place. Cows. I think you said he. The cow is usually she. Perhaps I was
yes.
wrong. Swelling unpleasant stomach. I think is without question the unpleasant one. It's Godfrey.
You think it's what Godfrey Smith said? He did say it was a swollen-up cow or thereabouts. True or bluff? Oh, no. Nothing to do with anything of that sort. Has to be one of the others. Now they own up. We must know.
Don't all look at me.
Better start.
Oh, blast. It was
There you
Robert
are.
Burns.
I think I heard you say blast, Arthur. Heavens. So feelings are running pretty high. So it's a footless stocking on a Scotsman, is a hosen. Goulard is the way I pronounce that next word. Tim Brooke-Taylor.
I pronounce it in exactly the same way. Goulard is a pedantic bird watcher's name. In fact, all bird watchers are fairly pedantic. So it's a bird watcher's name for a pouch under the bill of some seabirds, for example, gannets and cormorants. You will be astounded and probably delirious to hear that there has been a sighting of a gannet who took back in its bill, in its goulard, not 3 but 4 whole herrings. That is in its goulard. It is incredible, isn't it?
Piece of information more oddie than interesting.
Back into your garden, Muir.
Oh dear. Oh, that's it, is it, Tim?
Unless you want
Good.
more,
No,
there's
it was leave them
reams
wanting.
of it in the dictionary. but-
Leave them wanting more is my advice. Victoria.
Don't need more of that.
Goulard is an analgesic lotion. That is, it's a painkiller, and it's wet. And it was first used by Dr. Goulard, who was a French GP, or practitioner general, and he used to slap it on the wrists of these French people who'd strained themselves opening too many bottles of wine or tilting too many berets. And it's a solution of lead acetate, and it's a painkiller.
So she says that. Now we turn to Arthur.
A goulard is from French, and it's a garment. You may have seen tractor drivers and workmen on demolition sites wearing sort of loose, flowing affair. They are wearing... I beg your pardon. They are wearing... I'm telling you, they are wearing goulard. And it comes from the 15th century, and it's a very loose-fitting leather jerkin which was required wear in the 15th century and later for all
on-
serfs and varlets.
And tractor drivers.
Well, they didn't.
They don't wear them now, do they?
No, dear.
God for that.
Perhaps
No, but they wear...
Why did you bring the
must have
subject
seen I'm trying to tell you the truth. You may have seen tractor drivers wearing leather...
Gula.
Gula.
A resign.
Do
you're
upset me.
yes, I think possibly the nicer ones still wear them. We don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, it sounds like something loose a tractor driver slips into, a sort of a jerkin. It's a pouch under a bird's bill, and it's an analgesic. Godfrey's turn to choose.
Well, I thought that the bird-like pouch didn't sound very bird-like to me somehow. It didn't seem quite appropriate. The loose-flowing garment also struck me as improbably romantic. I like the good, honest sound of the French doctor, so I'll go for the painkiller.
Right, well, it was Victoria who said that. True or bluff, Victoria? Yowza! Quite right. Goulard is that sort of painkiller. 3-1 at this juncture. We have another one. Janker is the word, and Kate to define it.
Well, this one is actually right up my street, or rather it would be if I lived in Dublin's fair city, because a janker is, well, I don't know, what do you call them in this country? I think they're sort of rag and bone men, actually. They're sort of, you know, they go around, in Ireland, they go around in sort of a horse and cart, collecting sort of odd bits and pieces. There is a quite well-known janker in Sean O'Case's last play, The Bishop's Bonfire, which I've actually never been in, but I know this character because he's a militant janker, and he has the most wonderful name of Timothy Crouchbasket. And I won't even attempt to say that in Irish because it's sort of, it's impossible, and my Dublin accent isn't very good. That's what a janker is.
Sure it is.
Militant black rag and bone man. That's very appealing, the idea. Frank, your turn.
A janker is a particularly... it's a ferocious, aggressive Australian ant. And in the outback, it can make a picnic a living hell. Not only has it got sharp mandibles, but the thing can leap and hurl itself in the air, something like 1.5 inches. Well, you may jest, but to an ant, that is a very, very long distance to leap. They are known as jumper ants as well.
How splendid. You've never heard him do the bells, have you? It's something a bit the same. Godfrey, your turn.
Well, a janker is an terribly useful piece of machinery. It's a very heavy piece of equipment, and it's used for moving beer barrels. It's 2 enormous wheels like that, with a sort of beam or axle in between. 2 stout chains underneath. On goes your barrel, and slowly it trundles forward for your drinking pleasure.
And well then, it's a very vicious sort of ant. And it's this heavy vehicle that carries the beer barrels, and it's a rag and bone man. And Victoria to choose.
Okay. I'm getting no help from my friends in this. The rag and bone man, it sounds quite likely because they always do have nicknames, strange names, so it could be that. I'd like it to be the ant, but I don't believe that they jump up. But I'm sure if they did jump up, that's exactly what they would be called. But I think it's only fleas that jump, isn't it? Well, that's what I think, anyway. And I don't think it's your machinery, because I've seen men throwing barrels around. I've seen them throw them from the backs of the carts down the hole. So I don't think there's any machinery to do that. So I'm going to say it's the ant.
You think it is the ant, of which Frank, well, practically sang. Frank, true or bluff?
Tiens.
Yeah.
Et voila! No, not an ant, not an ant.
Oh, it's...
Who gave the true definition of
Oh,
that excellent
blimey.
word? There it is! It was the heavy vehicle that's so constructed you can carry all sorts of loads, beer barrels and the like. 4-1, Arthur.
Oh, don't.
No, I shan't. I shouldn't have done. Hissa is the next word. Victoria Wood's turn.
Well, a hissa is an Indian spy cum messenger who used to collect and transmit military intelligence to the British Army. Because he used to go around going, "Sss, there's an elephant standing on your foot, sir," and things like that. That's why they're called hissas. And the Duke of Wellington, when he was having his Indian campaign and showing the Indians what was what, he used to swear by his, and he had one called Chandra Nanak, which I always think is something like Sherpa Tenzing, but you get the picture. It's a little man.
Right. Little spy
Little
type
spy man.
person. Arthur's next. Here he comes.
Isa is one of the very few sailors' expletives that can safely be uttered on a family program. So I utter it. And I suspect that it's pronounced Isa, and I suspect that it is French. It's what sailors used to cry when hauling on a rope to give them purchase and pull. Isa! Isa, the old version of
fall
our...
down.
There's no speaking to some people. Isa, the modern alternative being heave-ho, me hearties.
Yes. Very polite sort of exclamation. Anyway, now it's Tim Brooke-Taylor to tell you.
The hissa is a very, very odd bird. Odd? Yeah, no, you may laugh. Please do. It is. It's odd because it is unrelated to any known species. What I can tell you about it is that it is a native of South America. It is about the size of a chicken, and on the on the end of its wingtips, it has little hook-like claws, like a pterodactyl. That is this odd bird. The hissa, South American.
Then let me repeat. They say it's this: a South American bird, an Indian spy, and a very polite sailor's cry, who doesn't want to say heave ho my hearties because it sounds rather crude. He says hissa. Kate, your choice.
Well, I don't know. I did a play about India set in the sort of Indian Raj sort of not so long ago, and it was really rather well researched, and I think I would have remembered something like hissa. I'm sure they would have managed to get it in because it was written by an American, and you know what they're like. And so I'm rejecting the spy and the Raj. Tim's South American bird. Well, I mean, the pterodactyl went out a long time ago. So I reckon yours is as dead as a dodo. But I was very impressed by Arthur's sort of hornpipe movement.
Well, you should be.
Although I would have thought that heave-ho had been in a sort of, quite a sort of well-known phrase for a long time. But on the other hand, no, I think I'll go for Arthur's cry, or nautical cry.
The cry of the sailor?
Yes.
Of which Arthur spoke. True or bluff, Arthur? Perfectly true. It is a hissa, indeed does mean what Arthur said. How can you believe it? But it's perfectly true. 5-1. I forbear to say anything, except 5-1. Foothark is the way I would pronounce this next word. Frank?
Futhark. Futhark, because it's Anglo-Saxon. It's a runic alphabet of primitive symbols used by the Anglo-Saxons in the 2nd century A.D. And it's called Futhark, semi-interestingly, because it's the first 6 letters of the Anglo-Saxon alphabet. But way up, Frank, you're about to say, there are 7 letters there. I reply, Th in Anglo-Saxon is only 1 letter. 6.
Thank you.
Futhark.
Yes. Well, let's start anyway. Now Godfrey's turn. Godfrey.
Well, Frank hasn't quite got the pronunciation right. It's actually Futhark, and it's Scandinavian folklore for a werewolf That's to say, a human being who can turn himself into a wolf or other animal. And indeed, in Norwegian saga, one of the most famous of all, there was a woodcutter called Halsdan, who became a futhak when he transmogrified himself into a black bear.
Well, well.
Oh, my word.
Life ran very high in those days. Kate.
Well, a futhak is a short spear which Eskimos in Greenland use with which to catch fish. I mean, they make a sort of, they cut a hole in the ice, and then they get this implement, which is a piece of fish bone, actually, sort of sharpened to a very fine sort of degree, and they jab at the fish through the hole and catch their fish. Futhak.
So they say that it's an early Old English Anglo-Saxon alphabet, runic alphabet. It's a spear used by Eskimos, and it's a species of werewolf. And Arthur must choose one of those.
My friends to right and left have helped me deeply. So where I go. That awful with all that stuff going on, Frank, really. Your dreadful runic alphabet. Of course, it may be right. Was it?
That is for you to decide, Arthur.
And this terrible Scandinavian werewolf. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. On the other hand, my friends to right and left assure me that Eskimos are constantly spearing fish, and they may well spear them with foothooks. So, Kate, you.
She did say.
Reveal all.
She did say it was the spear with which Eskimos at least tried to spear fish. Yes.
No.
Oh dear, dear. We must hear who gave the true definition of futhak or futhak.
I hesitate to
Hesitate, I
even
think you
show
mean.
it.
It is indeed. Futhak is the Anglo-Saxon alphabet, and I did know that I know the name of the letter that is TH. It's either an eth or a thorn. Tiny opportunity to show off, but I thought I'd just seize it. We've only got a little time now for Berry, so off you go quickly, Arthur.
Berry is the dry and desiccating wind that sometimes blows over farmland during a bad drought.
That'll do nicely. Tim's go.
I have to go slightly off microphone now. Berry is what it is, because onomatically speaking, that may not sound much like it, but it is, in fact, to bury is a verb, and it is to utter the peculiar cry of an elephant.
Enough. I have to cut you off so that Victoria can have a crack at it.
It's the little hooky bit that sticks out on the end of an anvil.
Lovely, lovely. It's the noise an elephant makes, or thereabouts. It's a dry sort of wind, part of an anvil. Frank? You dive at it, if you will.
Elephant cry.
Elephant cry, Tim Brooke Taylor. True or bluff? And it is! Oh!
It's too accurate.
Ah, dearie me, yes, absolutely right. It is.
I never win the quickies.
Oh, no, don't gloat, Frank.
Hardly.
Not the score being like this, but you won a quickie and you won all the rest too. And I hesitate to mention the score, Arthur. But at 7-1, Frank Muir and Co. have won. And as we glance at the gallant losers, the tear starts unbidden to the eye.
Sorry, Captain.
But I don't think you care very much, Arthur, one way or the other.
Really.
All the rub of the green, as we call it. Anyway, we shall have more wooden halfpennies from the Oxford English Dictionary next week. Until then, goodbye from Godfrey Smith.
Goodbye.
Tim Brooke Taylor. Kate O'Mara. Victoria Wood. Frank Muir.
Good night.
Arthur Marshall. Goodbye.
Another quiz classic next on BBC4 Famous Names Face the Music.